10. It does not return hatred with hatred, even when it destroys it. An old video went viral. Footage from the early days of BTS's debut shows Taehyung standing backstage, alone. Around him, a cynical laugh was clearly heard. Some of the staff spoke softly, but enough to be caught on camera. The visuals are unique, but it's kind of weird, huh? Kayak is not an idol. Taehyung heard it. The camera highlights his frozen face for a moment, then looks down. But what happens next, instead, becomes a piece of the story that makes people start to see who Kim Taehyung really is. Instead of expressing anger, Taehyung returns to training as usual. He continued to greet the staff in the following days. He distributed snacks during the break. He even helped lift equipment without prompting. There was not a single confrontation. No sarcasm in return. And years later, one of the staff members admitted in a documentary that he used to look down on Taehyung and now looks down on him. 9. Taehyung doesn't sell his grief. He keeps it for the sake of others. ***. There was one moment that many soldiers could not forget. When BTS was on top of the world, when everyone was smiling on stage, one camera captured Taehyung's blank expression behind the stage. He had just lost his grandmother, but it still shows up. No crying in front of the camera. There is no long chatter on social media. There is no massive publicity to create the image of an idol who remains strong despite being in mourning. The only thing he did was write a little letter in Weverse that night. The sentence is simple, but cutting. Today I smile not because I'm not sad, but because I want you to be happy. And so is Taehyung. He does not use his suffering for sympathy. It does not make grief a selling point. It knows its true power is how we can remain present to others, even when our world collapses. 8. He gives without announcing. Even BTS themselves sometimes don't know ***. Many fans were shocked when one family with cancer shared their story on social media. They say that in 2022, when their son was diagnosed with advanced leukemia, someone paid the entire cost of treatment without wanting to be named. Only when the child recovered and his father wrote public thanks, it became known that it was the man who paid for everything. It's Taehyung, without documentation, without the presence of a camera, without a branding agenda. Even the agency doesn't know. Taehyung doesn't need the world to know he's a philanthropist. He didn't want applause. I just want someone to live longer. And this is not a one-time case. Several art teachers from South Korea and abroad once revealed that they received a large donation to a remote art school from an anonymous donor, and then associated it with a V after finding a handmade painting sent along. 7. She knows how to respect others even when she's being abused. ***. At a prestigious fashion event in Paris, Taehyung appeared charming. He sat in the front row with the world leaders. But the camera captured one scene that made fans furious. A famous magazine editor seemed to whisper and laugh while looking at Taehyung. Their hands mimicked Taehyung's expressive street style on the runway the day before. Some even suspected they were mocking her body style. Taehyung didn't say anything, but he looked straight at them and only smiled a little. Not a shy smile, not a forced smile, but a sharp smile, a smile from a person who knows that his self-esteem does not depend on anyone's judgment. After the show was over, Taehyung approached them, reached out, and said, "Thank you for coming. Have a good day." There is no sarcasm, no insults. But that sentence left one of the editors speechless. In an unofficial interview leaked a few weeks later, he said, "I feel small. I was never humiliated in such an honorable way." 6. She's not afraid to look different even when everyone tells her to be the same. ***. When BTS was just debuting, many staff and coaches emphasized one thing. All members must be compact. It should look like one whole. The hairstyle should be uniform. The manner of speaking must be controlled. Even the way you laugh is, if you can adjust it to look idol-like. But Taehyung, from the very beginning, it can never be polished. He still laughed out loud in a distinctive way that resembled the sound of a music box. He sang strange notes in the middle of the interview. He makes tiger, cat, even owl sounds while filming, and many consider it strange. Some even suggested that he should be calmer so as not to make BTS look non-uniform. But Taehyung hasn't changed, that he still loves jazz. Keep reading poetry. Keep painting. Keep wearing clothes that don't match K-pop trends. like vintage oversized suits a la France of the 70s, until one day, the world began to like it because of its uniqueness. Top fashion brands are approaching. Modern artists began to pronounce his name, and the one that used to be considered different, now it is the main attraction. 5. Taehyung protects his loved ones, even without them asking. Once upon a time, one of the BTS members was subjected to tremendous pressure from malicious rumors circulating on social media. At that time, the focus of the media was on the member, and the public was waiting for which of his colleagues would speak out. But what happened was not an official statement, nor a long clarification from the agency. What happened was a small moment, very small, but capable of silencing thousands of hateful comments. In a private live broadcast, Taehyung mentions the member's name, then laughs as he says, "I just talked to him. I was always proud to be his friend. There was no confrontation. There is no debate. Just one sentence, one smile, and the world changes." A few days later, public opinion began to flip. Fans were overwhelmed. Haters began to be silent. And the media, once aggressive, suddenly lost their fangs. Taehyung's loved ones don't have to scream for help, because he knows how to stand as a shield without being asked. He knows that sometimes what one needs is not a long defense, but rather a presence that doesn't leave when the storm comes. 4. He does not pursue the love of the world. He pursues a love that cannot be bought. Taehyung could be the best-selling solo star on the planet. It has a visual appeal to the fashion market. His unique baritone voice was the target of Western producers. He was even invited to high-end world events that only allowed the elite to sit in the front row. Look at his life choices. He remained in South Korea, choosing to live near family. He is more often seen on local art venues, not just international red carpets. He spends more time with his pet dog, Yeontan, than any TikTok celebrity. It is not lured by false glamour. He didn't build a crazy persona to look cool. Just when everyone wanted to be more viral, bigger, more noticed, Taehyung took the opposite step. He took a step back from the crowd, choosing a sincere quality of life. And when fans asked why he does not often update, not often show off a luxurious life, he simply replied, "When I was happy, I forgot to tell you, because I'm too busy enjoying it." 3. He protects the privacy of others. Even at the cost of his own. There was a time when Taehyung was targeted for news coverage because of his closeness to someone outside the K-pop world. The media scrounges, makes assumptions, and casts a hot spotlight on those personal relationships. What is surprising? Taehyung did not refute, did not clarify, did not also confirm. It just says, there are things that are too sacred to explain. Others might rush to defend themselves, seek sympathy, or even sacrifice the other party to clear the name. But Taehyung didn't. He would rather allow himself to be slandered than divulge other people's personal information, even if it could save him from a negative spotlight. And this is not the first time. In many interviews, when asked about friends, family, or special people, Taehyung is always cautious. It takes care that no one feels exposed for being in its orbit. 2. He never considered himself above anyone. Many stories circulate from the staff with whom he has worked, whether on stage, on set, or in hotels. And one pattern always appears. Taehyung treats everyone like friends, not subordinates. Someone once shared a story on a forum that he was a taxi driver who drove Taehyung late at night after a schedule. On the way, they didn't talk much. But arriving at the destination, Taehyung smiled, said the driver's name accurately, because he saw from the car's ID, and said, "Be careful on the road, Kim. Thank you for making tonight feel safe." The driver claims to have never cried after work, but that night, she was crying. Taehyung is also known as a person who always looks down when greeting the cleaning service at the hotel. He went to the cameraman and asked if they had eaten. He greets in a low voice anyone on duty behind the scenes. 1. He remains Kim Taehyung even when the world asks him to be someone else. This is the most profound reason, the core of why millions of people, from teenagers to grandmothers, from artists to politicians, respect Taehyung. Because he never stopped being himself. When the world tells him to hide his tears, he still cries when touched. When the world wants him to always look cheerful, he still admits that there are days when he is tired. When the world wants him to be an unattainable star, He still replies to fans' letters, still uploads blurry photos of his own shots, still shares playlists of songs that make him cry at night. Taehyung is not perfect. And that's why he is loved, that he showed that a world superstar can remain an ordinary human being. Being able to still love your family, appreciate quiet time, joke silly, be alone for no reason, and write poetry without worrying is considered strange. He makes people believe that being yourself is not a weakness.